Imagine a continent haunted by shadows, where justice sleeps and the cries of victims echo through the years. How many killers walk free, their secrets buried in the soil? This is the dark side of Africa, a realm of unsolved mysteries and unpunished crimes. Tonight, we delve into the chilling world of African cold cases, stories that linger in the shadows, demanding answers. Our journey begins in Ghana, where a reign of terror gripped the nation for 7 long years. From 1993 to 2000, the cities of Accra and Kumasi lived in fear of the Matahiko Strangler. Over 30 women met a gruesome end, their lives stolen in the dead of night. The victims were primarily food sellers and sex workers, vulnerable women navigating the margins of society. The killer operated with chilling precision, striking between 8 p.m. and dawn. Each murder bore a horrifying signature: rape, strangulation, and a disturbing post-mortem mutilation of the genitals. But the horror didn't end there. Unused condoms and empty syringes littered the crime scenes, and needle pricks on the victims' bodies hinted at attempts to extract blood. It was a scene that spoke of ritual, of a mind driven by a darkness beyond comprehension. Police investigations stalled. Leads went cold. The Matahiko murders threatened to become a permanent stain on Ghana's history, a testament to the power of evil to evade justice. The victims, marginalized and often overlooked, seemed destined to be forgotten. Then, a break. A name emerged from the shadows: Charles Ebo Kwanzaa. But even with a suspect in custody, questions lingered. What drove Kwanzaa to commit such unspeakable acts? Was he truly responsible for all the Matahiko murders? And why did the investigation take so long to yield results? The bizarre details of the crime scenes, the condoms, the syringes, the blood extraction attempts suggest something more than simple sexual homicide. Could Kwanzaa have been driven by occult beliefs or some other psychological compulsion? The answers remain elusive, lost in the fog of time and the complexities of the human mind. Now, we journey south, to the Cape Flats of South Africa, a community scarred by poverty and violence. Here, in the late 1980s and early 1990s, another monster stalked the streets, preying on the most innocent of victims: children. The Strangler Dossiers, as these cases became known, involved the abduction and murder of young boys, aged 8 to 14. Train stations and arcades became hunting grounds, places of fear instead of childhood joy. One name stands out in this grim chapter: Norman Afzal Simons, a schoolteacher accused of being the Cape Flats child killer. Simons, a seemingly quiet and unassuming man, became the face of unimaginable horror. He was convicted in the death of Elroy van Rooyen, a 9-year-old boy whose life was brutally cut short. Elroy's murder followed a terrifying pattern: his hands were tied behind his back, he was sodomized, and then strangled with his own clothing. The evidence against Simons was compelling, but he maintained his innocence, and controversy continues to swirl around the case to this day. Did the police focus too narrowly on Simons, overlooking other potential suspects? Was the conviction a product of community pressure and the racial tensions of the apartheid era? The questions persist, casting a shadow of doubt over the official narrative. The Simons case highlights the complexities of justice in a society grappling with deep-seated inequalities. It raises uncomfortable questions about the role of race, class, and social status in shaping the outcome of criminal investigations. Were all leads exhaustively pursued, or were some avenues of inquiry prematurely closed? These are questions that demand careful consideration, even decades after the fact. South Africa's history is stained with the blood of serial killers. In the 18th century Cape Colony, a Huguenot woman was executed for murder, marking one of the earliest documented cases of female criminality in the region. And in the early 1900s, an insurance killer emerged as the country's first known serial predator, motivated by greed and a chilling disregard for human life. These historical cases, though separated by time and circumstance, reveal a disturbing pattern, a recurring presence of serial violence in South African society. But the victims of these crimes are not just statistics. They were human beings, each with a story, a family, and a future stolen by violence. Their names may fade from memory, but their suffering deserves to be acknowledged. The echoes of these past crimes resonate in modern Africa, where violence continues to plague marginalized communities. The 2019 murder of Uyinene Mwediana, a student raped and killed in a Cape Town post office, sparked a wave of national outrage and forced the government to confront the ongoing crisis of gender-based violence. But Uyinene's case is just one example of a broader problem. Sex workers, food sellers, and poor children remain disproportionately vulnerable to violence, their lives often devalued and their cries for help ignored. The legacy of apartheid continues to cast a long shadow, perpetuating inequalities and creating fertile ground for crime. The intersection of traditional beliefs and violent crime raises further concerns. Modern cases, such as the disappearance of Jocelyn in the 2010s, reveal the disturbing evolution of ritual sacrifice, with children being sold for muti, traditional medicine, highlighting the complex interplay of cultural practices and criminal activity. The Matahiko murders, the Strangler dossiers, the historical cases of the Cape Colony all offer grim reminders of the enduring challenges facing African societies. They underscore the need for vigilance, for justice, and for a commitment to protecting the most vulnerable members of our communities. As we close this chapter, we are left with more questions than answers. How can we break the cycle of violence that continues to plague Africa? How can we ensure that the victims of these crimes are never forgotten? And how can we create a society where justice prevails for all, regardless of race, class, or social status? These are questions that demand our attention, our compassion, and our unwavering commitment to building a better future. The shadows of the past may linger, but they do not have to define us. By confronting the darkness, by seeking truth and justice, we can pave the way for a brighter, more equitable tomorrow. The fight continues.